Here are 12 low elo mistakes keeping you hard stuck, so you can fix them and instantly rank up. Number 1. Overvaluing utility. At the end of the day, Valorant is a first-person shooter. That means gunplay is the most important mechanic in the whole game. It doesn't matter which round you're in, you will have to fight in each and every single game. So the mistake a lot of people make is that they might find themselves in a 1v1 or in a fight, and instead of just taking the fight, they resort towards using utility instead, which at first glance seems to be a really good strategy because you want to get all the advantages you can and use your utility to win those fights, right? Well, that's where the issue can come in, because in a lot of cases, you can lose out on important timings when you're throwing out your utility while you're mid-animation. Someone might swing you while you're doing it, or they might swing your teammate while you're doing it, leaving you unable to trade your teammate and or fight back. Or in some cases, you might even be able to throw out your piece of utility, but unless it's gonna actually get you the kill, it's often useless. Yeah, you could shoot a Sova shock dart at someone, but best case scenario is 80 damage. And so even if you succeed, you don't even get the kill. And this is the case with most pieces of utility. And that's why in a lot of cases, it's just better to rely on your mechanics, take that fight instead of messing up the timings and looking for a perfect piece of utility. Even if you throw a raise nade, it's really difficult to get a perfect raise nade in a 1v1 that's gonna get the kill. And so you're better off just taking the raw fight. Give yourself the best advantage in the fight, get angle advantage, proper crosser placement, all of that. Be real set up so you can actually win the fight. Because if you're throwing a bunch of utility and you're second guessing yourself and you're trying to figure out how to perfectly place it, you're gonna be putting yourself in a really poor position that either gonna get you killed during the animation or just gonna be in such a bad position that when you actually do get the fight, you won't be able to win it. So whenever you're about to get a fight, ask yourself, will this piece of utility actually be worth it? Will it actually give me an advantage? Unless you're super sure about the utility and you're absolutely certain it will give you an advantage, don't use it. Number 2, holding gamble angles. There are good angles to hold and there are bad angles to hold. A good angle is an angle that gives you the advantage, puts you in the driver's seat and allows you to get the kill most of the time. And there are bad angles that make it really difficult for you to actually win the fight. How many angles are you exposed to? Because if you're holding an angle where they can peek you from 2 different spots or even 3 different spots or from different elevations, that makes it a gamble angle. You have to take an educated guess on where they're gonna peek and you're gonna have to guess where to put your crosser. If you make a bad gamble and your guess is off, you're gonna lose the fight. And 1v1s are already kind of a 50-50 in a lot of cases. And so you don't want to lower your chances by having to guess where they're gonna come from. So instead, hold the angles where they can only come from one direction, making it super clear and easy for you to have proper good crosser placement so you don't have to keep yourself guessing. Are you tired of not ranking up? I'm currently running a 1-week free trial in my coaching program. That's free group coaching and guides. Achieve results like my student Jack that got 600 RR in 1 month. I'm so confident in the program that you will also get 4 rank ups in 8 weeks, or I will work with you for free until you do. Join if you want to rank up. Number 3, pre-firing. Have you ever found yourself in a fight and the enemy is just jiggle peeking and they're doing some really short peeks and you're trying to win the fight, but you can't seem to get that timing down. So instead you find yourself pre-firing, because if you get the timing right, you'll get an insta kill and they won't even be able to shoot back. Sounds really good, right? Especially if you kind of spam the angle, then like the window for them to try and move past that is pretty difficult. The problem is though, this is exactly like point number 2. You're gambling. You're hoping that your timing is right and that you hit them instantly, because if you don't, your crosser is going to be off and your gun control is going to be off because you're going to be mid-burst, mid-spray, whatever. And once they swing, they're also going to have all the time in the world to line up that shot because they're probably going to wide swing you and that leads to you dying. Instead, just hold the angle, be confident. If you feel like it, move slightly to the side so they can't line up that perfect crosser placement, and then once they actually do make that swing, take that kill. Pro tip, in most cases when someone's jiggling you, they're either trying to line up that perfect crosser by seeing where you are, and if you stay still, they will be able to do that. But if you move, they won't be able to, so their only option is to wide swing, and that's what most people will do. And if you just prepare yourself for that, you can get an easy kill. Number 4, trying to stop and execute. If the enemy team is making a hard push and a hard execute, seems reasonable to want to stop it, right? I mean, you don't want to lose sight, and the attackers have a 60 to 75% win rate after they planted a spike. But what if I told you that's not always the case? If you get smoked off and the enemies are throwing a bunch of utility and your teammates far back on site or they're also retreating, in a lot of cases it's actually better to just hold your life, because pushing through smokes is incredibly difficult and it's a very low percentage play, and in most cases you will just die. And so sometimes it's just better to maintain as much space as you can around the site so that when your teammates have rotated, you guys will have all the time in the world, all the space in the world, all the good angles to just instantly win that retake, because all retakes are not created equally. If the enemies have no space and you have a lot of space and you have a lot of time, you will actually most of the times win that retake. So when the enemies are pushing, take a look at the minimap, check the game state. Where are you? Where are your teammates? Can you realistically stop the push? Can you get more than 1 kill? If the answers are no, just play the retake. Number 5. pushing smokes. You've probably seen pros getting some insane multi-kills pushing through smokes, and the reality of it is, unless you have a flash, pushing through a smoke is absolutely trolling. Because when you push through a smoke, you will be instantly exposed to millions of angles. Also, the enemy will see you way before you see them because your gun is gonna poke out through the smoke. And even if you manage to get a kill, you then have no cover, usually nowhere to run as well. And so if there are multiple enemies, the best case for you is usually one kill and then you die. Therefore, if there is a smoke, it's usually the better play to just wait out the smoke and then make a play. Number 6, you don't understand crosshair placement. I'm not going to be talking about any basics like keep your crosshair at head level or anything like that. But there are way more levels to crosshair placement than most people think, and it's actually quite easy once you understand it. There are 2 different scenarios that you need to understand in order to have proper crosshair placement. The first scenario is whenever you hear footsteps. If you hear footsteps, you need to hold your crosshair wide because that means someone is pushing you and they will most likely wide swing that angle. So if you hold your crosshair wide, you will get that kill. The second scenario is going to be when you hear no footsteps. What do you do in that case? If you hear no footsteps, that usually means your enemy is either doing one of 2 things. They're either slowly shifting and peeking all the angles, which means all you need to do is hold it tight and you will get a free kill. The other reason they might be making no noise is they're slicing the cake. They're slicing angles. They're taking each angle peak by peak. And guess what? If they're doing that, they're also tight peeking, which means the exact same thing. Hold close. So that's how you master crosshair placement and get a bunch of kills. Number 7, not abusing enemy team comps. Look, all it takes is for you to take a really quick glance at your team, the enemy team, see which agents they have, you have, and if you're on defense, and they're on attack and they have no one to look at the flank, no chamber trips, no cipher trips, guess what? You should be putting a lot of pressure on the flank. If you hear no one at your side, you might as well flank and collect those free kills. Number 8, not practicing tracking. Whenever people talk about aim in Valorant, all they talk about is flicking. I mean, the game consists of a lot of flicking, so makes sense, right? There's more to it. The reason why tracking is really important is because of 2 things. I would argue the most important aim skill you need to have in Valorant is actually dynamic clicking, which means hitting moving targets. You need that skill whenever you're holding an angle and whenever you're in a strafe battle. You need to be able to hit someone that's moving. In order for you to develop target reading skills and in order for you to have the mouse control and the smoothness to hit a moving target, you need to practice tracking. And the best way to practice that is micro tracking. That will be bots that are moving very slow, that are very tiny, that force you to remove all the tension in your arm or wrist so that you can smoothly track the target. That's usually the skill you need in a lot of fights in Valorant. Therefore, it's an incredibly undervalued skill that you need to learn. Number 9, slow rotations. If you want to win more rounds on defense, this is the key. This is the key to having high impact and actually carrying on defense. You need to be where the action is. You need to have impact. If you're standing and looking at a wall the whole round, you're providing the team with 0 value. And so if you hear nothing on your side and you're not an anchor, then you might as well flank or rotate so you can be where the action actually is, because most of the times people don't fake, and if they do fake a lot, then like I previously said, attackers have a 60 to 75% win rate after they planted a bomb. You need to be there before they get the bomb down, and if you're able to do that consistently, you will win loads more. Number 10, bad aim routine. Are you actually working on your weaknesses? Is the routine working on muscle groups you actually use? These are some of the questions you need to ask yourself when you're picking an aim routine. The most efficient way to get better aim is working on your weaknesses. Are you having trouble hitting targets at long range, making small micro adjustments? Are you having trouble winning close range fights where you have to do larger flicks? Are you having trouble tracking targets? Are you having trouble flicking faster target? Whatever your problem may be, you need to have an aim routine that is actually addressing your weaknesses. Because if you're just working on the things you're already good at, you'll be creating even bigger gaps in your aim. Instead, you should have an aim routine that is working directly on the weaknesses that you have, that you want to improve. So pick an aim routine that will actually work on your weaknesses, not just something you found out on TikTok or on YouTube. Number 11, not insta-moving. Whenever you're fighting in Valorant, there's one crucial habit that you need to have. If you have a keen eye and you've watched Primi, you might have noticed how he does this very well, and it's something I call insta-moving. Whenever you shoot, you can either wait and see what happens. You can stand there waiting to see, did I hit the shot, or are they moving, what's happening? Or you can shoot and just move. This is something Primi does, and it's partly why his movement is so incredibly strong. Because what he does is he just shoots, and after he's shot his 2 or 3 bullets, he just moves. Doesn't matter if he kills the enemy or doesn't, he just moves as a habit. You want to be moving for a majority of the duration during a fight. You want to reduce the time standing still in a fight as much as possible. And this is one of the most crucial ways you can do that, by insta-moving. As soon as you shoot, move. If you can develop that skill, you will be able to win way more fights. Number 12, bad gun control. Are you shooting before you stop? Are you holding a burst a bit too long? Maybe you're bursting a bit too fast. How you control your gun is key and is essential to you winning more fights and climbing the ranks. If you're bursting too fast, if you're shooting just before you're stopping, if you're spraying when they're just quite a bit too far, all of that crushes your fighting potential. Instead, you need to learn to control your gun, especially now more than ever, now that they've changed the spray patterns. You need to be able to dissect in any given situation whether bursting, tapping, or spraying is the correct choice. And not just that, you need to make the right choice and you need to be able to perform that skill to perfection. I have a very simple solution to this problem, and it's that you just strafe and burst in like 90% of the fights. If someone's really close, you spray, and if someone's really far, you tap. It's honestly that simple, and so all you need to do is master that skill. Whenever you're playing in warm-ups or in death matches, actually consciously think about how you're bursting, how you're controlling the gun. Are your bullets going haywire, going all over the place, or are they actually hitting the target? Are they actually going where you want them to go? Look at your gun control, work on it in warm-ups and in death matches, and start winning more fights.